for this upcoming fall for the Riverdale series. A 1-hour series in the same kind of vein of, let's say, maybe, I don't know, Pretty Little Liars, or Beverly Hills 90210, or Melrose Place, or whatever. And why are they licensing out those characters? Financial reasons. They're hoping that by licensing out Archie, Betty, Veronica, Jughead, Reggie, Ethel, Moose, whatever, to CW, to essentially Warner Brothers, if you will, that they are going to get a piece of that successful financial pie if the show is a success. That's why they're doing it. They're not going to come out and say, oh, well, we're just doing it because we want people to be more exposed to Archie and all that, No, they're doing it because of the fact that they need financial help. And they're not going to explain that to you. They're not going to explain it to you. I mean, why do you think they're licensing out Betty and Veronica, ironically, just those two, for a movie down the line? A theatrical movie. Financial reasons. You see, there's a lot of comic book company and gaming companies that do the same thing. I'm not denying that. But they don't go out of the way and say, oh, well, we're doing this and that. No, they don't go out of the way to really shove it in your face of what they're doing, of what they're trying to do to get your attention. They don't shove it in your face. Okay, they don't shove it in your face because of the fact that they want you to come out and say, hey, take a look at this. We're doing a crossover with Sonic and Mega Man. And oh, by the way, we're adding in all the game and comic book characters you said we should have added in the last crossover. And oh, by the way, to make it even better and bigger, we're going to add in all these other game franchises for no apparent reason. Basically, folks, what you have here is exactly what a lot of people have said from the beginning with this crossover. Nothing more than a cash cow. That's all it is. And again, you know, Archie Comics, Sega, and Capcom are not guilty of this. Because they're not the only ones that have done this in the past. There have been a variety of comic book companies, a variety of game companies that have all done the same thing, all because of financial struggles they have been in the past. Financial struggles, believe it or not, that a majority of these comic book companies and gaming companies, despite how big or small they are, have somehow overcome. True, there have been some tragedies. True, some companies have had to fold, have had to basically had to fold, deactivate, if you will, go out of business, if you want to put it that way, because they couldn't afford, even with the success of certain other comics or games and titles and all that, that yes, they've had to fold, they've had to go out of business, you know, they had to shut their doors forever, lay people off. And yeah, it's not fun, it's not a pretty sight. And everything. But at least even in their darkest hour, they didn't try to shove everything in our face and try to say, hey, we're going to do this and that, this and that and that. No, they would come out finally and admit the truth. They would say, look, financially we're not doing so well, and we don't know if we're going to be around for the next couple of months or the next year or two. They would at least come out and say that. But yes, there are companies that are like Sega and Capcom and Archie that won't come out and say that. They'll shove things in your face. They'll do it because they need to basically financially get back on their feet. And they won't say a word. They won't say a word until one day somebody tries to go onto the website or call up the number and it says, sorry, this number is deactivated because the business is out of close. The company you are seeking is out of business. Or they type it up and say, website no longer exists, company out of business. The point is, Archie Comics, Sega Corporation, and Capcom Again, right now financially might be doing good on the outside. But on the inside, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to see that there's desperation financially. I mean, if they weren't so desperate for money, if they weren't wanting to rush something like this crossover out, because this crossover, I've read through it, and like I said, and I enjoyed some parts. People enjoyed some parts. There's been a lot of fans that enjoyed it, even though they overall have looked at this as nothing more than a cash cow and possibly just an overall disappointment. There have been parts that they've enjoyed and felt had more potential if expanded on, except for the fact that even though it was pointed out or used as a reference joke in one of the issues by Eggman, thanks to Ian Flynn, you know, despite all that good stuff and potential it had, it was just rushed. I mean, come on, seriously, you have an ending, as I mentioned before, where Xander Payne, a character that comes in around, the first issue, yes, but doesn't really do much until the end, really didn't really have no significance whatsoever in Mega Man for a couple of issues until this came around, and you have him be the one that not only becomes the hero, but you have him be the one that opens a freaking time portal into the past of Mega Man X's world and uses a regular gun to go, a regular gun, according to some people's descriptions and some of the forums, take a regular gun and right at the beginning of issue 1 of this crossover and say, Sigma, bang. And that's it. And that is a rush. You don't rush things like that. You build to it and you give us a more proper ending. I mean, what made the ending for Worlds Collide good is you had the heroes be the one that tried to reset things. You had a bittersweet outcome because Mega Man got his world reset, but in turn, Sonic's world did get reset, but not in the way he was hoping because of Eggman's interference. It's just one of these situations, folks, to where if you're going to do something like this, don't rush it out. And you know, it always makes me wonder why Archie Comics, Sega, and Capcom couldn't just decide to say, hey, you know what? Let's give this thing its own comic book run for 6 months. Let's make 6 48-page issues that you could charge at $4.99, if not $5.99. Altogether, maybe $125 for the whole 6-month subscription. Why couldn't you do that? You know why they didn't do that? Finances. That's it. Finances. And I know some people might say, well, that's not the case, Brian. It kind of throws some continuity in there, and it's like, what continuity? Everything gets reset back to the ending of the issue before the crossover. That's about it. Continuity-wise, everything gets reset in the Sonic world, in the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book, at the end of 272. Mega Man-wise, at the end of Mega Man 49. Boom-wise, who cares? Universe-wise, at the end of 75. Essentially, you have Ian Flynn writing an ending that's rushed, and to the point that you have a guy that's like an anti-hero, villain, whatever, and Xander Payne using a regular gun to basically shoot and destroy Sigma and basically erase the past 12 issues, the past 3 to 4 months of freaking crossover, and for what? For what? Because Sega, Archie, and Capcom wanted to cash in on the success of the original. If you're going to cash in, take your time. Let the person you're hiring to write the story, let the person or persons that you hire to write the stories and do the artwork, let them take their time to tell a proper story. Don't rush it because you want to cash in on not just the success of the last one, but you want to cash in because you're going to put all the franchises that you own together. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. And now, on top of that, there's a hint and possibility of a third crossover. A third one. And if that's just a cliffhanger hint or something like that, and it doesn't come to pass, it's just, again, another desperate attempt on all three parties' part to financially gain success, to capitalize on something that, oh, by the way, you just erased. You essentially took 4 months of story, 12 issues of story, and at the end of the whole entire crossover, erased it. And now you want to capitalize on it again with a Nexus storyline? A Nexus crossover? That is desperation in the highest degree, in my opinion, folks. Look, financially, Archie, Capcom, and Sega may not be in as bad a shape as a lot of people have said they are. You know, I know Rich from Review Tech has said it. I know Alpha of Alpha Omega Sin has said it. I know a lot of people that I've watched on YouTube have said the same thing, that Sega and Capcom, you know, financially may be okay right now, but not as okay as they're letting on. And all I can say is this. Archie Comics is, if you're in the same boat, which it seems you are according to some reports at times, you need to get away from listening to these two. You need to let Sega and Capcom know, look, we're licensing your characters. You license your characters to us to do these comics. Let us do the comics the way we know they can be done. Let us do the comics the way we know the fans want them done. Don't make us rush things because you want to capitalize on the success of the other one. And oh, by the way, you want to prove to your competition, Marvel and DC and IDW, you an Image or whatever, that you could do a crossover probably even better than they can. Guess what? Their crossovers at least make sense at the end. They do. This one, what sense did it make? None. None. It didn't. I mean, open up a portal. Hey, Xander. Boom! You're dead. Whew, everything gets reset. It's like, oh, what happened? I thought I had a nightmare or something. Somebody check on Shadow, see if he's okay. Seriously. Point is, this is nothing more than this was nothing more than a cash cow. This was and is nothing more than a cash cow. And crossovers shouldn't be used as cash cows. They should be used as special events that fans will enjoy. You should be building up to it and building up to it to see how fans will react. Don't just say, oh, we're going to rush this and we're going to rush into it. I mean, when you announced Worlds Unite, you didn't really come out and say, you said it was going to be bigger, but you didn't say exactly how big. I mean, I think some fans even pointed out that it would have been better had you not come out and said, oh, here's who's going to be in it from this franchise. Here's who's going to be in it from that franchise. Here's this, here's that, here's this, here's that. If you wouldn't have said a word and surprised people, people would have enjoyed it. You know what's funny is, when Sally became Mecha Sally, and they used that silhouette, a lot of people knew it was her, but some guessed and wondered, could that be a roboticized Nicole? What is that? They didn't know. They didn't know. Some wanted to be surprised. And if you would have left, some wanted to be surprised. They did. Do you think people read 229 of Sonic the Hedgehog expecting Sal to be roboticized at the end? No. No, they didn't. The point is, overall, this is nothing more than a cash cow. I know I sound like I've gone on a rant about this, saying the same stuff again, but seriously, this crossover was nothing more than a cash cow. Archie Comics, Capcom, Sega, if you have financial trouble, it's no shame to go for bankruptcy. It's no shame. And Sega and Capcom, I know you've licensed the characters to Archie Comics to do comic books on. Let me tell you this. You licensed those characters to them, let them do the comics the way they should be done and the way the fans want them done. And if they're going to do a crossover, let them do the crossover properly. Don't make them rush things. Don't make them add additional characters and franchises because you want to get people's attention and their money. And you know what? And you want to know what makes this really a reality, that this is all about finances and this is nothing more than a cash cow? Everybody keeps asking why Sonic Boom's going to just be now a Sonic Super Special Magazine exclusive, and as possibly possibly even as well a Sonic Super Digest exclusive. Why they're ending the comic after 11 issues? Financial reasons. Why they're putting Mega Man on hiatus instead of continuing him? Financial reasons. And if that's not any indication, then I don't know what is. And if this isn't any indication as well, along with that this was a cash cow, I don't know what is. But let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. I'm done here for right now. I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to talk to you all later.